Do you have a test or an exercise to work with broader teams? If you have a leader and says, Rich, I think we're good. I think, the goals, I'm pretty confident. And it comes to how we're going to achieve them. I think my guys will do okay. If you ask my guys, I think I'll be happy with the answers. Do you have any recommendation on how to test that? Because sometimes it stops there. And I've had leaders say, geez, Bradley, I don't know if we're talking about sales strategy, like, I don't even want to know. And I'm like, let's sit on that for a minute. If you don't really want to know, do you have a test or recommendation that maybe our audience could do as kind of a gut check to see if they are doing a good enough job of communicating the strategy at this point?
Yeah, that's a really great point, because typically when you're assessing that, you want to assess two things. You want to assess knowledge. Do we know our market? Do we know the customers? Do we know the competitors? And then you want to test behaviors. So those are the two separate things. So in my world, I use a strategy survey. It's real simple. Any of you can develop one. It asks things, and typically the strategy survey is 4 areas. It's market, customers, competitors, and company. So you want to ask questions like, who's your most dangerous competitor and why? What resources do they have that you don't have? When it comes to your company, what are our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, our threats? What are the 1 or 2 big challenges that are going to prevent us from being successful? So again, I think first of all, you want to measure people's knowledge of the business. Secondly, you want to measure their behaviors, their habits, their mindsets. And so I have an assessment called the Strategic Quotient, or SQ. So everybody out there is familiar with the IQ, right? The EQ, which is the emotional intelligence. Now we've got the SQ, which is really measuring how well you think, plan, and act strategically. And typically we've had about 3,000 people take it so far, and the average score is around 69 out of 100. So I think in general so far, what we're seeing is people are doing a pretty good job of executing, not as good of a job at allocating, making trade-offs. And really the area where where people struggle the most is ideation or innovation, coming up with new and different ways to bring value to their market. And again, it's really a matter of giving people some tools that are practical to help them do that. So those would be the 2 buckets, knowledge and skills. And I think if you measure both of those things, it gives you as a leader a good idea of where your team is.